Meghan's shocking move as she was added to the list of hated people. Harry became the scapegoat. Hello everyone. Welcome to the Princess Diana News YouTube channel. He is no longer wanted, this is true. That should make him happy. After all, he's always been very careful about being careful, but I guess now he realizes that since he's not a copycat, he's completely irrelevant and can't handle it. And then I like this comment from Janet about Meghan's appearance. Janet says those southern states had African roots, not from Nigeria, not from West Africa. Ask her to show you the DNA results. You can't see it in 43% of Nigeria. Of course we don't. As someone pointed out, this is not possible anyway as there are many different tribes. Janet, you make a good point. Points. Yes, Doria's ancestors were indeed slaves in the American South. You are right, Janet. Most of these people are not from Nigeria anyway. I mean, it wasn't even called Nigeria at the time, but they weren't from that particular part of Africa. Thanks again, Janet, for pointing this out. I also like this comment from Clover. Clover 1722 said, I'm still trying to figure out how she has 2 red hairs. Do they also have blue eyes? How did she do it? Clover, we talk about it over and over again, and, of course, we can't understand it, because it doesn't make any sense. Finally, I thought that usually the dark genes predominate and the red head. I mean, it's definitely a recessive gene. If Meghan has red hair, father's side or mother's side, I don't think it's possible for these kids to have red hair. Even if it were technically possible, it would be highly unlikely. Chapter, thank you again for your comments. I mean, you're not wrong. Anna Paula also returned to the comments section with another great comment. He says that constantly renewing his ethnicity is equivalent to constantly renewing his face. Not to mention the constant rebuilding of other things, friendship, career, husband, truth. I think I see a pattern here. Thanks for helping us see this, Anna. And then the comment right below, from Lucia, or maybe it's Lucia, I'm not sure, I hope I didn't pronounce it wrong. Regardless, her allegiance to Africa seems questionable since she's been straightening her hair for years. Chapter, yes, questionable at best. Thanks for your comment. Also, Karen, Meghan isn't the brightest pencil in the box. The color is bright, I'll give it that. Challenge one country at a time. He offended a few people this week. OMG. Meghan Markle doesn't seem to know how not to make people angry. And maybe, my friends, we haven't been fair to Meghan. We say she has no talent, but her talent seems infuriating. She's really good at this. Then there's Helen's comment. I wonder if Meghan would be embarrassed by the bullshit she said, even though she knew everyone knew it was a lie. To be honest, Helen, I wonder about this too. I don't think she does. I think he is so delusional that he thinks everything he says is the truth or his truth or whatever, or maybe he just doesn't care. I can't figure it out, but it's certainly an interesting question to ponder, isn't it? And then Kathleen Singleton's comment made me laugh. I don't believe any Nigerian would take a picture with him. Me too. I mean, how desperate must they be? Or how ignorant is he? I have no idea. Then Jacqueline said, that's what Netflix is. Thank God I cancelled it. I think we all cancelled Netflix. Sue Clark says, she's all over the map and can't focus on anything for long. He might have achieved success if he had chosen some career goals or causes and devoted time and effort to them, but he seems only addicted to money and fame and sensitive to work. Yes, Sue, you are absolutely right. That's his problem. Meghan Markle, she gets scared when she finds something that requires real effort. She believed she would do all these different things and that somehow it would bring her the money and fame she wanted without having to do anything. But then she realizes she was wrong every time, but apparently she never learns from her mistakes. Another comment I really like comes from CGP. Remember that guy a few years ago who claimed to be Sidney Poitier's son and worked his way into high society? I remember. People gave him money, a house to live in, etc. Eventually, years later, he was arrested. He is a huge liar and may have multiple personality disorder. He ended up either in jail or in a mental hospital. Doesn't this sound like Mimi? That's true, isn't it? I almost forgot about this guy. I tell you, there are many madmen in this world. Well, the last comment I have to add is from Susan. He wants the Nigerian prince to earn some money, which he constantly asks for help in emails. But wouldn't it be perfect if Meghan dumped Harry for her new Nigerian prince and then they could fool the world together? There was a match in the door. I can't say in heaven, hell is more like this. Okay, now back to the question we asked earlier. How does Meghan cope with being one of the most despised people in the world? Well, she does a great job at that. She has her own way of dealing with it, and his favorite way to deal with this pain is to attract a lot of attention, so that he says to himself, oh, everyone is jealous of him. Don't you know? Meghan Markle loves to create drama for herself to get her name in the headlines. She wants to be like the old Hollywood actresses who really had an incredibly dramatic life. But the difference is that Meghan is completely made up. He wants everyone to talk about him. He wants to be a story. He doesn't care if people say bad things about him. He only cares about people talking about him. And that's because Meghan is a sick and twisted person. She hopes people will feel sorry for her when she plays the victim, when she's clearly just playing a role. She wanted us to know that she felt so hurt, that she was so misunderstood, that we all misunderstood her. This bothers her so much that she has to wear an alarm bracelet and dress strangely. This even affected her dancing skills, as seen during Beyoncé's concert. She wants us all to know that the negativity surrounding her is driving her to suicide. She is contemplating suicide. Chapter We have to do something. We need to start saying nice things about her or talking about her more so she is not forgotten. But Meghan Markle can't even fake suicidal thoughts and attempts. She lived another day hoping that her fake trauma would translate into an Oscar-winning performance, but that never happened. Just when we think she's finally going down, she's back again. But he is not like a phoenix rising from the ashes. He is more like a person who eats. And he has his mother, Doria, there to help him through it all, to help plan and plan. And that's why they look down. They just make stuff up and laugh, do drugs, and play on their phones. If hanging out at Olive Garden McMansion is too boring, no worries, they can head over to In-N-Out Burger. Well, maybe it would be better if we let her live in her fantasy world, thinking that she really is that loved and important. Chapter Actually, we all know the truth. She is pathetic and useless, and what's wrong with the Invictus Council allowing Meghan to give her word salad speech on this stage? Invictus seems to be just an extension of Meghan and Harry at this point. It used to be a great honor for veterans, but now it is not so great. And veterans are being used as a guilt trip to get people to watch Meghan and Harry's little show. So what happened before Invictus? Why do we know Meghan Markle won't be allowed in? How do we know she's banned? Is it Harry? Harry stepped in and said, I wouldn't do this unless Meghan agreed. Chapter How about those paparazzi photos of Meghan wandering around the house for days, trying to prove that she was really busy while Harry was away, then she suddenly showed up in Dusseldorf and was led on stage to give another meaningless speech. You know, it's actually more for OTA mothers than war heroes and veterans. Everything went very well. Didn't have any trouble. In fact, this didn't shock anyone except the people in the crowd. Well, the planners, I'm talking about Harry and the Invictus Council, weren't surprised at all. Harry may have looked a little angry, but that's because he always does. And that's because he knows how much Meghan hates him and how unwanted he is everywhere. And knowing that the media and public reaction will be negative. But Harry is stubborn, demanding, and has a temper, and he's childish enough to calm down a bit and demand that Meghan be there. So my guess is that they came up with this plan to make sure people would show up to the vets so they could have an audience for their little show. The vets were just a sideshow and I will never forgive them. And it is clear that they are doing something. I mean, the board seems to like them because they represent them, right? This time, they paid $30,000 a night for the presidential suite at the Hyatt Hotel. They also organized a circus-themed reception for them as they do every year. Also, the Warrior Games, yes, they are real. We talk about veterans and their athletic achievements and it's just incredible. Don't let a few clowns come up and say meaningless remarks to gain attention. Haha, narcissists are also not allowed. In Warrior Games, no one talks about breastfeeding and picking up kids from school. It focuses on who it should be focusing on, vets. And every year these games are shown on ESPN and are extremely popular. Invictus really ruined the games. They confronted vets and their victims, while shining a light on an addict and his abusive wife. So we are not surprised by Meghan's stupidity and her fabricated stories. You are bored now. People are never surprised. I mean, what are they going to try next? We don't know, but we know it will happen. And then what about Harry's attempt to move to Japan? But he included me too, if you will, and I'm sure that was met with silence. Why would anyone want Harry in Japan? Of course they didn't do that, anyway. I know today's video is a bit complicated, but I hope I still gave you some useful information. What do you think of these messages? Please tell me in the comments. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to receive more interesting videos from the Princess Diana News channel. Thank you very much again for your attention, goodbye, and we'll be back to see you all tonight.